The Mona Lisa. Hands down, the single most famous painting on planet Earth, with no competition. Every year, she brings the Louvre around 90 million euros in ticket sales. And that doesn't even count the hotels, the restaurants, the souvenirs, all the tourism money that comes with her fame. But here's the kicker. One big reason the painting got so famous is because it's tiny, just 77 by 53 centimeters. That's about 30 by 20 inches. Small enough to carry anywhere. Back in the 1500s, Leonardo da Vinci literally did just that. He carried the painting everywhere he went. Whenever he met someone, he flashed the Mona Lisa just for a moment, and the second they showed interest in buying it, he'd snatch it back. That was Leonardo's way of doing what we'd now call hype marketing. He kept her out of reach for over 4 years. And soon, the painting became legendary. Everybody had heard rumors about her, but hardly anyone had actually seen her. Kind of like a mythical Marvel artifact whispered about, never truly confirmed. Even Raphael, the celebrated genius of the Renaissance, turned out a whole series of fake Mona Lisas, one after another. But people who had laid eyes on the original? Almost none. Of course, Da Vinci himself was already a walking headline. And let's be honest, he didn't even paint that many works. He spent more time dissecting bodies, studying proportions, or figuring out the geometry of tree branches. For him, painting was science. If Instagram had existed back then, he'd be the guy posting anatomy sketches with the caption, "New project drops soon, day!" So yes, Da Vinci was basically the Renaissance influencer of his time. When Leonardo died in 1519, the Mona Lisa still wasn't finished. He left it to his student. Later, the King of France bought it for around 4,000 florins. And eventually, the painting landed in the Louvre. But here's the thing, for centuries, nobody really cared. She was unfinished, kind of unimpressive, just there. Always smiling politely at whoever looked at her. And for 300 years, she stayed in the background. It wasn't until '89 that the Louvre staff restored and retouched the painting. That's when she started looking like the Mona Lisa we recognize today. Still, she just hung there, unnoticed, for another 100 years, until August 20, 1911. That morning, a handyman named Vincenzo Perugia finished his shift at the Louvre. And then, he simply took the Mona Lisa off the wall, tucked her under his clothes, and walked out. No drama, no mission, impossible soundtrack. He just carried her away. Exactly the same way Leonardo himself had carried her 400 years earlier. That's the genius of the size. Leonardo had basically designed the painting with ergonomics in mind. When the painting disappeared, the Louvre staff didn't even notice at first. That's how unimportant she was at the time. It took 2 whole days before someone realized there was nothing left but a few nails on the wall. And suddenly, this wasn't just a missing painting. This was the Louvre's reputation on the line. The world went nuts. Newspapers everywhere reported the theft. And with the massive media attention, the Mona Lisa exploded into global fame. People wanted to know everything about her. Rumors, conspiracy theories, wild speculation, all over the place. The French police panicked. They chased every lead like headless chickens. And at one point, they even arrested Picasso. Yes, Picasso. The guy was at home, minding his own business, when suddenly he was accused of stealing the Mona Lisa. Turns out, someone had once seen stolen Louvre items at his place. But this time, he was completely innocent. He had nothing to do with it. So eventually, Picasso walked free. 2 years later, Perugia saw an ad in the paper, someone offering big money for rare artworks. He thought, perfect, time to cash out. So he tried to sell the Mona Lisa. But the buyer recognized the painting instantly, called the police, and the story blew up again. More headlines, more attention. And in court, Perugia gave the performance of his life. He claimed he wasn't a thief at all. He said he had stolen the Mona Lisa to bring her back to her rightful home, Italy. This wasn't theft, he argued. This was patriotism, a noble act of cultural justice. And the crowd loved it. Italians cheered him on. The media spun him into a folk hero, from art thief to national savior. The police, caught in the middle, eventually had to release him. But here's the hard truth. The King of France had paid for the painting centuries earlier. Legally, she belonged to France. So in the end, the Italian government returned the Mona Lisa to the Louvre. And that's when it happened. From that moment forward, she wasn't just a painting. She was the Louvre's queen bee, the art world's #1 influencer, the ultimate viral celebrity. The Mona Lisa had completed the most glamorous rebrand in history. And today, if you go to Paris and don't stop by the Louvre to see her, it feels off, like going on a road trip without a phone charger, or showing up to work without your morning coffee. Not the end of the world, sure, but you'll feel like something's missing. Thanks for hanging out. And remember, history was never boring, it just needed better storytelling. This is Snarky Canvas, dropping fresh videos every weekend.